Mandla, so we're continuing the theme of renewal from the last episode. Today we are talking about a clean slate from the perspective of business. How does a clean slate apply to business?
So a business is like a person. Often you need to clear up things and start afresh. And in this episode, I'm really talking to people who are leaders or managers within business. When you are creating a clean slate, you're not a new organization, you're the same organization, but you have more lessons that you've accumulated and battle scars, and you accept what was, you take your learnings and you move on. So a clean slate means that you are now more resilient as a business. You've learned from your past failures and setbacks, and effectively you've created a bridge. And what that bridge is a link from your past, what was, to your future, to what will be. And the reason why separating the past and the future is that people and businesses often have to reinvent themselves. Who you were 5 years ago is no longer relevant. 5 years ago, there was a pandemic. You had to act in a particular way. And then maybe after the pandemic, you had other pressures that you had to adjust to. So it's almost as if the old version of you or of the business has fallen away and you are a new creation.
How do you clean the slate as a business? I mean, we know and understand how to do that as a person, but as a business, I see you refer to there being a bridge between failure and a renewal. So it's not just cutting it off, it's a process. A bridge means like you have to travel to get there. So how do you clean the slate as a business?
You start by looking at where you were going, and often where you're going was recorded on your scorecard.
Okay.
If you have a performance scorecard in your business, each year you'll set targets, what you want to achieve in terms of learning, in terms of market growth, in terms of financial success. And you start by looking at the previous scorecard. What did you achieve and what didn't you achieve? And whatever you've achieved, you can build on. What you haven't achieved, it might be that there's changes required. You can't just keep flogging a dead horse. So perhaps you need to do something totally new. Perhaps you have outdated practices that you must get rid of,
Oh, yeah.
which were good in their time, but no longer relevant. Perhaps you need to embark on a change management process, because often when you work as a team, some people accept change faster than others. And there could be team members that are still behind, and not behind because they are bad, but maybe they were just so entrenched in the old way of doing things that it's difficult for them to comprehend being new. So ultimately, in cleaning the slate, you are creating new sources of innovation. And it's like when you move from winter to summer, it's that spring interval where new flowers blossom.
So you mentioned then that change management is a key to this process. How do you change leadership perspectives and the perspective of their followers?
So it varies by person and also according to leadership style. A leader that is more authoritative, you might find that their change management is quite brief. They issue a new instruction, they take away all the tools that you had for your old way of doing things,
Oh, that could
and
be.
you've got no choice.
I think that could rock the boat a bit in a few
Yes,
businesses.
yes, yeah. And look, some people are effective at managing like that. So drag the rug under your feet and you get to work on Monday and welcome, guys. This is the new way that we're doing things. You could have a leader that has a more facilitative style where they work with a team to understand where the changes are needed. And that type of leadership can be more effective in certain instances because you are taking your team with you, not just showing them where to go. It obviously varies by industry. I think some industries need a more consultative style, and some leaders are more instruction based, do this, do that.
Definitely some drastic changes that are required.
Yes. And those changes, what you're actually changing is actually people's motivations and people's minds. It's not easy to rewire someone's mind circuitry because those neurons have been wired in a particular way. And you are now saying, ignore all that, throw it aside. We'll
Yeah.
now do things this way.
I'm sure there might be some upheaval then in clean slates in business and creating those. And then you also mentioned innovation. Is that a key ingredient to a clean slate as well?
Yeah. Innovation, when you are cleaning the slate, because you're moving from point A to B, you're crossing a bridge. You can't cross a bridge if you don't know where you are going. And that's why you need innovation, which tells you what's on the other side of that bridge. So the act of innovation is a whole process in itself. It's actually preparing that new slate. And what it comes with is an increased level of creativity because you've blocked the old road. So let's say the old road used to go above the mountain. You've now decided to go through the mountain. So you now need to make a tunnel. So then you need to be creative. Like, how will I make this tunnel? How long should it be? How will I support it? And with that comes an element of design thinking because you're redesigning stuff. It also comes with a lot of more cross-functional collaboration. And the reason why you're more cross-functional when you're innovating is because you now need to work with other teams. If your colleagues in marketing want to start selling something in a particular way, they need to work with their IT colleagues who will enable that new way of selling. Or maybe you need to speak to production and engineering. So cross-functional collaboration is part of innovation. And the last thing I'd like to emphasize is to be more effective, you may need to reshuffle the way you do things and see things.
Yeah, that sounds very interesting. So it doesn't help to just have a clean slate and to implement that, but also you need to know what else you want instead of what you had in your business to have a sufficient goal to work towards. And so far, we've been talking about what happens internally within a business, but what about externally? What is the role of the customer or the client, if any?
So remember that your customer ultimately pays you, pays your salary, they bring in revenue. So you can't leave the customer for last. In fact, the customer should be the very first stakeholder that you involve. And often customers have got very good insights. The nice thing about customers is that their insights can be brutal,
Yeah.
brutal in a good way, because often when you are speaking internally, people can be polite and they'll say, look, I'm not quite happy with this product feature. The customer will just tell you directly, that's a horrible product feature. Can you get rid of it?
Okay.
So you need to co-create with your customers. And co-creation means speaking to them. Coffee, catch-ups, formal interviews and surveys, everything that can tell you what the customer needs in your product. Understand how their use cases have changed. Are they now using your product differently? Are they starting to use your competitors' products? And what is it about your competitors' products that they're liking, which you don't have? So when you clean the slate, you're also clearing that slate to meet your customer needs in a new and better way.
Hey, that's very interesting, like molding your change according to what the demand and the need of your customers and your clients are. rather than just forging ahead and doing what you think internally is necessary. Lots to think about there. As we close, what is your encouragement of the day for your book, Conquer Your Mountains?
I'll read from page 99 of Conquer Your Mountains. So said the Lord, the time had come to remove all strongholds that stand between us and God, all walls, barriers, everything that blocks his power. Lord, demolish it all. Crush, devour, make the slate clean. All failure, bitterness, disappointment, principalities, and tears that have created a gap. Melt my heart and mold it to yours.
My name is Amanda De Witt, and I am the Senior Editor at LUCA, the Faith and Inspiration imprint of Penguin Random House South Africa.
And I am Mandla Moyo, the author of an inspirational book called Conquer Your Mountains, as well as a science fiction book called The Fallen Angel. If you are following the Conquer Your Mountains reading plan, you are in week 29, that is the name Hosea and Joel. Cleanse my lips.